Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Daniel Ahmed, and I'm a cloud security architect. Today, we're going to go halfway through the series that we're doing. We're doing the EntraGoat challenges. So, this is the challenge we'll be performing today. Group membership rec sailed into admin waters. Access obtained from Michael Chen, an overworked IT support specialist. He manages a security group with role assignments. When one of them, this might be your VIP pass to the admin seats, chain group membership and escalate through service principles and entanglements to authenticate as the admin user to capture the flag. So we have the credentials and I've already done the setup. This is the setup credentials. We have the access for Michael Chen and we also know where the flag is. So let's start. Most of the labs in EntraGoat are very similar. Just like the last lab, we have a user and we want to escalate privileges up till the point of getting EntraGoat admin. And once we are in the admin, we have a flag in the attribute section of this admin's properties. I've already logged in as the user. So Michael Chen. So first things first, let's find out what objects we own in the whole tenant, because most of the times these challenges revolve around us owning an application or a group, and then we have to escalate further the privileges that we have on. So let's find out what we own. Michael Chen. And we'll not just find out the whole user owned objects, because this is not giving us any data other than the object IDs, right? So we don't know if it's a service principal, we don't know if it's a managed identity, or if we don't even know if it's a group or whatnot. So let's find out what this actually is. We're going to figure out by where object, we're finding out additional properties. So what we're doing is we're finding out the display name and the ID. We already got the ID, but we're also printing out the ID in this command. So we already had the IDs and now we have the display name of these IDs. We can see that these are the groups: IT application manager, the AI development team, security testing team, network security, operations team. So basically these are the groups that I own, the Michael Chen user owns. So to figure out what these groups actually have inside of them, we can simply check the users inside of the groups, and for that we can simply use get mg group member. So we will find out what the actual users inside of these groups are. I haven't written the group ID here because I'll write in front of you. So we will enumerate each one by one. There's also a faster way to do it, but it's a little script. I try to use single commands so you can follow along with me. So we enumerated these two users. Let me just copy these and save in my notes. Similarly, we can do the same for the other users as well. All right, so no users inside of this. I've already checked all the user groups. It's not actually having any roles or any groups. So what we can do is we can further enumerate this group, because this is the group that is the focal point. We have users inside of this group. We can figure out what roles this group has. To do that, let me just do it for all the groups. So let me just add these groups in a variable. So we'll save them like this. Okay, I didn't use the comma. So we have saved all the groups in a groups ID variable, and for this we'll just run a script. What the script will do is it will run through all the group IDs and it will find out what the actual display names are, and what the actual role IDs of all these roles are that are in these groups. And we'll figure out if these are actually dynamic groups or these are assigned roles. And I'll tell you what the difference between these two are in a bit. From these 6 groups, only 4 of these groups have user roles. So we already know that these groups are assigned groups. These are not dynamic groups. Any user inside of these groups will inherit all the roles that these groups have: application admin, AI admin, attack simulation admin, and network admin. We can save all this data with us. So mind you, we only have 2 users inside of this group. We don't have any users in other groups. The next step would be to figure out whether we can add ourselves in this group as well, because AI administrator is not that attractive for us because we are trying to get admin access and AI admin won't help us with that. Attack simulation admin is the same thing, and network administrator as well. So application administrator might help us get access to an application. So what we can do is, as we are owners of this group, we cannot actually create users. To create users, we only need an user administrator, or we should be global admin. But owner of a group can only add people into the group or remove the people from the group. So basically we can add the people only. There are two things we can do. Either we know a user outside the tenant that we can add to the group, or we can add ourselves to the group as well. So before we move on, let me show you what the difference between a assigned group and a dynamic group is. So what happens is there are two types of groups in Entra ID and Azure. One is a dynamic group and one is a assigned group. The difference between these two is that if you have users that you want to add to a group, you can add to both of these groups. There's no difference in that. But based on a condition that you apply in the dynamics group creation process, for instance, you make a condition that if the user has a property named job role that has contents inside of it as IT administrator, and you name the group as IT admins, every user that has a job role property of IT admins will automatically be added as a member of this group. So just because of these conditions that we can add to these group settings, we cannot really assign any roles to them, because any kind of user that has any role inside of it with the conditions being met can be added to this group. There is no condition of the role inside of it. So any different type of users with different roles can also be added to this group automatically, even if the conditions are met. But assigned groups are those groups where you just add the users and you can simply add them without any condition. But these groups can also be assigned roles as well. So any role that the group has will be automatically inherited by all the. Last thing is that you cannot add permissions to dynamic groups, but you can add permission to assigned groups only. Let's continue with our attack path. Now we found a group which has application admin. We found two people inside of that group. We cannot really change the passwords for those users. We can only add ourselves or add another user inside of the group. So we will try to add ourselves in the group. We can save ourselves in a variable and we can print out the ID. Now what we can do is we can add ourselves to the group. Member group ID. The group ID for this group is actually IT admin manager, application managers. Add this user, which we added into a variable. All right, so if we print the groups now, this is the group ID, right? We can see that our user Michael Chen is now in the group. So we will obviously inherit the roles inside of this group, which is application admin. To actually figure out what roles these groups have, we can simply run this command to find out what this group has. So we found out that for all these two users that were in the group previously, they have application administrator role. So both of them have this. This means that the group also has this role, application admin. So they are inheriting all those groups. Now what we can do is we can enumerate the applications inside of the group. We can simply get all the application. All these applications exist. We just need to find out the roles of these applications in the tenant. So all these service principals and whatnot. And we can also find out the groups that these applications belong to as well. Because there's a misconception that the applications cannot be added to a group. That's wrong. We can also add applications to groups and their service principals. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to run a script, and all the applications inside of this tenant will be enumerated, and we'll find out the groups that they are inside of, the service principals. All right, so there is only one identity, the identity management portal. This application is inside of a group named identity security team, and this is the group ID. We can just save this information as well. Now we know that there is only one group that is having a service principal related to this application. The last thing to do is to find out what roles the group has, because we didn't know the group existed before. So we will use this application ID, this group ID, to find out the roles this group has. So to do that, we will just get mg group. This is the group. So the roles inside of this group are privileged authentication administrator. Now we understand that this group, if we are a user inside of this group, we can actually change the password for privileged users as well, even the global admins. So we can reset their password, and we can of course use this to reset the password of EntraGoat admin. And once we can use their credentials to log in, we can find a flag. Right now we're not inside of this group, we're inside of IT application admins. We can create a secret for this application. To create a secret, we can simply run a few commands and we'll get a secret, and when we can log into this application, add this application into a variable. we're going to create a new app secret. Is the app object ID correct? I didn't use the object ID. This is the object ID. This is object ID, and now if we run, we can get a secret. So this is the new secret, and we can save it somewhere else. Now we can use this secret to authenticate as the app. Simply disconnect. Now we'll add the tenant. We'll also add the client ID. The client ID is actually different than the object ID. This is the client ID, app ID. And we'll also save the string of the client secret. We can simply authenticate now. Before authenticating, we can convert this into a secure secret. To do that, we're just going to use the variable that we saved and put it inside of this after converting it using this function, and also the credentials as well. So we are saving these two things together, client ID and secure secret. Now to connect, we just all right, so we are connected now. You connected using the tenant ID and the credentials. The credentials are basically just the accumulation of these two secure secrets and client ID. Now, if we get the context, we are actually inside of application name identity management portal. Now we can simply reset the password for admin user, and now we can log in using this. Disconnect from the application, connect as the admin. We'll use the same password that we made for it, this one. Now we're inside of this admin user. This is the admin user. We can get the properties now. All right, so user ID should be equals to the. All right, so this is the flag. It was inside of this extension attribute one, and now we can add this into this. So tomorrow we will be doing this. I eligibly own that, and inshallah we'll finish these in the next 3 days, and then we'll make ourselves our own challenges, and I'll put them on GitHub. For now, thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum.